We actually dispatched a warship to the Gulf when we were asked by America. We went into Afghanistan when we were asked by America. We've sent trainers and planes into Iraq and Syria, asked by America. We host 2 communications bases in Australia. So come again to you, former Foreign Minister, aren't we entitled to a modest request that in the spirit with which Barack Obama pardoned Chelsea Manning, drop the extradition orders against Julian Assange?
Precisely put. Precisely put. This is small change in the context of an alliance in which we're paying $150 billion for American subs, in which we host communications facilities that, by any test, make Australia a nuclear target. Tony Abbott, within hours of being asked, made a commitment that Australia would send trainers, fighter planes, and other military personnel into the most difficult area involving the final battle against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. I said at the time in an interview that I thought that was a reasonable alliance request, providing we weren't committing to some open-ended war on terrorism, but providing a humanitarian intervention along with the Americans and the Kurdish forces to rescue an endangered population. So that's the kind of ally we are in the context of all this geostrategic heft. We're entitled to say to the US President, there's one minor thing, it's not a big issue in your politics, it gets little attention. The Trump administration started this extradition. Obama would not have done it because he was very conscious of the argument about freedom of the media. If you allow this to proceed against Assange, you're creating a precedent that would have the New York Times or the Washington Post prosecuted for printing material that a whistleblower gives them about American wars and about the atrocities that might attend on those wars. Assange is in trouble because he used material given him by an American who, as we've said, has been pardoned, to print details of American war crimes in Iraq. Now that should not be a hanging offence, and Australia should make that very clear, and America would listen to us if we made it clear.
Just finally, given your experience as a Foreign Minister, because you have known the Americas and you've dealt with all the hierarchy of American politics, just a simple question. Do you believe then, reiterating what you've said, that if our Prime Minister requested the release of Julian Assange, America would have every reason to agree?
Yes, with the qualification that if on first blush the Americans are saying, no, that one's too hard, we're too committed, our Prime Minister responds with a bit of character, a bit of panache, a bit of humour, but above all, a bit of firmness. I believe the Americans will say yes because he's a new Prime Minister and Australia is such a darn good ally.
Good on you. In another world, just a quick one before you go, when you were Premier and so on, I mean, Anthony Albanese was a young bloke and he worked for you. What sort of character assessment do you offer of the new Prime Minister?
Well, I think one quality that stands out above all is sheer good humour. And I think his colleagues like him because his temperament sets him up so well for this job. He's got to have other qualities as well, but I think the thing that stood out for me is his good-tempered spirit.
Good on you. Good to talk to you. Always good to talk to you, Mr. Carr. Thank you for your time and for your insights. Interesting, isn't it, to our viewers out there, Julian Assange, whatever you might think, this whole thing is a scandal. And of course, if you look inside, as I've said many times, inside your passport, there is a statement inside the passport that wherever you may travel with this Australian passport, governments will do everything in their power to minister to your rights and your freedoms. I think it's time some of those things were implemented in relation to Julian Assange. Thank you, Bob.